Hidden within this forbidden book lies the exact truth of how human consciousness controls reality itself. In Consciousness Controls Reality, you will uncover the shift that feels like entering God mode, where thought, awareness, and experience become one. As you listen, you may begin to sense it. Reality has been responding to you all along. Consciousness Controls Reality. Introduction. The universe whispers an ancient secret through every breath you take. You are not merely observing reality, but continuously creating it. Your consciousness is not a passive witness, but an active generator of experience. Each thought you harbor is a vibrational blueprint, each emotion a constructive energy that shapes the landscape of your existence. This is not metaphorical language, but a precise understanding of how consciousness operates. You are standing at the threshold of a profound revelation. Your inner world is the template from which your outer reality emerges. The boundaries between imagination and manifestation are far more permeable than you have been taught to believe. The great wisdom traditions have always known this. From the mystical teachings of Eastern philosophies to the esoteric traditions of indigenous cultures, there has been a consistent thread acknowledging human consciousness as a creative power. What science now explores through quantum mechanics, the role of observation in determining reality, ancient wisdom has long understood as spiritual truth. Your thoughts are not ephemeral, weightless things. They are living energies with generative power. Fear, hope, belief. These are not mere psychological states, but vibrational frequencies that organize matter, attract circumstances, and sculpt the very terrain of your life's journey. To awaken to this understanding is to step into what might be called God mode, a state of conscious creation where you recognize your fundamental partnership with the universal intelligence. You are not separate from the creative principle. You are an expression of it, a focal point through which infinite potential becomes specific experience. This is not about magical thinking or wishful fantasies. It is a precise inner technology, a disciplined approach to understanding consciousness as the prime mover of all experience. By learning to direct your awareness with intention, clarity, and love, you activate a transformative mechanism far more potent than external strategies or circumstantial manipulations. Your journey is an invitation to reclaim your role as a conscious creator, to dissolve the illusion of limitation, and to recognize the extraordinary generative power residing within your awareness. Before we get into the book, comment "I am ready" to affirm your intention to the universe. Part 1. The Awakening of Thought. Chapter 1. The Mirror Within. In the gentle unfolding of universal wisdom, your journey begins with a story of transformation, a tale that reveals how consciousness sculpts reality from the inside out. Millie Harper's experience illuminates a profound truth. The world you perceive is not a fixed landscape, but a living reflection of your inner state. Picture Millie standing before her mirror, a moment that would become the turning point of her understanding. What she saw was more than a mere reflection of physical form. It was a window into the vibrational essence of her being. In that instant, the glass transformed from a simple surface to a profound metaphor of consciousness itself. Her revelation emerged not from complex spiritual teachings, but from a simple, courageous act of observation. The mirror showed her something revolutionary, Reality is not something that happens to you, but something you continuously generate through your internal landscape of thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. Similarly, Henry Cooper discovered this universal principle through his own lived experience. He noticed a striking pattern in his daily life, how his internal grievances manifested as external obstacles. Each time he held on to anger, frustration, or resentment, the world around him seemed to conspire to reflect those very emotions back to him. But here was the miraculous insight. When Henry chose forgiveness, when he softened his inner dialogue, the external world instantaneously responded. Obstacles dissolved, paths cleared, difficulties transformed into opportunities. These stories are not mere anecdotes, but living demonstrations of a fundamental universal law. Your internal frequency is the broadcasting station of your reality. Every thought, every emotion, every belief sends out a signal that the universe interprets and reflects back to you with remarkable precision. You are not a victim of circumstances, but the creator of them. Your consciousness is not passive, but actively generating the experiences you encounter. The world is a responsive canvas, constantly reshaping itself to match the vibrational quality of your inner state. This understanding is not about controlling every thought, but about becoming aware of the subtle energies you carry. It is an invitation to cultivate awareness, to observe your internal landscape with compassion and intention. The practice. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. Silently notice the emotional tone you currently carry. Imagine your world reshaping to match its gentleness. Allow your heart to polish the inner mirror until it reflects peace alone. Breathe into this moment of pure, transformative awareness. Chapter 2. The River of Belief. You stand at the threshold of understanding, where the invisible threads of consciousness weave the tapestry of your lived experience. Clara Benton's journey mirrors the profound truth that lies waiting within you, a truth that whispers of your inherent worth and creative power. For years, Clara wandered through life believing herself unworthy, her internal narrative a quiet storm of self-rejection. Each opportunity seemed to slip through her fingers, not because of external limitations, but because her deepest belief system had carved channels of doubt into the landscape of her existence. Then came the moment of awakening. Like a ray of light piercing through dense clouds, Clara recognized that her life's repeated patterns were not accidents, but precise reflections of her inner conviction. Her beliefs were not passive observations, but active architects constructing her reality. Imagine your beliefs as rivers of energy, continuously flowing and reshaping the terrain of your experience. When Clara changed her internal narrative, she discovered something miraculous. The external world began to align with her renewed understanding. Owen Brooks walked a similar path. When his business appeared to crumble, he did not scramble with external strategies. Instead, he transformed his inner landscape. Where once he held the belief, "I fear failure," he consciously shifted to, "I am sustained by pure intelligence." The moment this internal shift occurred, unseen currents began to realign. This is the sacred technology of consciousness. Your thoughts are not mere whispers, but powerful conductors of reality. Each belief you hold is a frequency that attracts corresponding experiences. When you change the frequency, you change the experience. The universe responds not to your words, but to the vibration beneath them, Your emotions, your unspoken convictions, your silent agreements with yourself, these are the true creators of your world. Practice, the mirror of transformation. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. Feel each belief as water, fluid and malleable. Visualize a belief that no longer serves you. See it as a river, and with your intention, begin to reshape its course. Infuse this river with love, with gratitude. See it flowing not with resistance, but with gentle, powerful alignment toward your desired creation. Whisper to yourself, I am open. I am transforming. My beliefs are living waters, and I guide them with wisdom and grace. Chapter 3. The Garden of Emotion. In the unseen realms of consciousness, your emotional landscape is a living garden, far more powerful than you might comprehend. Just as Elsie Clark discovered in her small garden behind her modest home, every emotion you cultivate sends intricate vibrations through the fabric of reality, reshaping the world around you with silent, persistent energy. Imagine for a moment that your feelings are not merely internal experiences, but seeds of creation. When sadness touches your heart, the world seems to dim, not as a metaphor, but as an actual energetic response. Your inner state communicates continuously with the universal intelligence, broadcasting signals that manifest as external conditions. Elsie's garden was more than soil and petals. It was a dynamic canvas reflecting her inner emotional world. When despair descended, her flowers would droop, their delicate stems bowing under the weight of her unspoken grief. Yet when joy returned, those same flowers would lift their heads, vibrant and alive, dancing with renewed vitality. This is not mere coincidence, but a fundamental law of consciousness. Your emotions are not passive experiences, but active conversations with the universe. They are the language through which your inner world communicates with external reality, translating subtle energetic impulses into tangible experiences. Consider Frankie Wells, who transformed his environment through emotional alchemy. By replacing his habitual cynicism with silent appreciation, he discovered something remarkable. Strangers began smiling without apparent reason. Interactions became more fluid, and opportunities seemed to emerge spontaneously. His inner shift created ripples of transformation around him. The universal intelligence responds not to your words, but to the frequency of your emotional state. When you cultivate appreciation, gratitude, and love, you are essentially sending out harmonious signals that reorganize your environment. Your emotions are not reactions to the world, but creative seeds that generate experiences. This understanding invites you to become a conscious gardener of your inner emotional landscape. Each feeling is an opportunity to plant something beautiful, to nurture growth, to transform your reality from the inside out. Practice. Breathe into each emotion and see it as fertile soil. Close your eyes and imagine your breath as a gentle, nurturing force. With each inhale, acknowledge your current emotional state without judgment. With each exhale, plant thoughts of love, compassion, and serenity. Visualize these thoughts as seeds taking root, their tendrils spreading through your inner landscape, gradually blooming into a garden of tranquility that will inevitably mirror itself in your external world. Chapter 4. The Invisible Thread. You stand at the crossroads of seen and unseen, where the whispers of universal intelligence guide your every breath. Ruby James understands this mystery intimately, her story a testament to the invisible currents that flow beneath the surface of human experience. In the heart of a bustling metropolis, where concrete walls seemed to close in and countless paths intersected like tangled threads, Ruby found herself lost, not merely physically, but spiritually adrift. The city's cacophony of sounds and movements overwhelmed her senses, each direction appearing equally uncertain, equally intimidating. But then something remarkable occurred. Instead of surrendering to panic, Ruby took a deep breath and shifted her internal landscape. She released the grip of fear and opened herself to guidance. In that moment of surrender, a curious calm descended. Her breath became steady, her mind clear. The city's chaos did not change, but her perception transformed. Subtle signs began to emerge, a gentle nudge here, a momentary pause there. Street signs seemed to whisper, strangers unconsciously redirected her steps, and an inexplicable certainty began to pulse through her awareness. She was not alone. An intelligent, compassionate force was orchestrating her journey. Walter Snow's experience echoed this profound truth. When uncertainty clouded his path, he learned to trust the whispers of intuition. Where others saw randomness, he recognized a deeper orchestration. His unspoken wishes were not mere fantasies, but signals sent into a responsive universe. The universal principle reveals itself through such moments. You are never truly lost, only momentarily disconnected from the guiding intelligence that surrounds and permeates all things. Your intuition is not a fragile tool, but a sophisticated navigation system connected to a vast, loving consciousness. Trust becomes the bridge between your limited perception and the expansive wisdom that knows every intricate detail of your path. When you surrender control and listen deeply, you align with a guidance more precise than any external map. The practice is to close your eyes and sense that every choice is met by an answering wisdom, walking as though unseen hands prepare each step before you. Chapter 5. The Echo Principle. You are standing at the threshold of understanding a profound universal truth, that your inner state radiates outward, creating ripples of experience far beyond what your physical senses perceive. The invisible threads connecting consciousness are not mere metaphors, but living energetic pathways through which your internal landscape shapes external reality. Consider Sadie Vaughn, a woman whose laughter became a transformative force within her workplace. Where once cold interactions and distant professional relationships dominated, her genuine joy began to shift the very atmosphere around her. Her laughter was not just sound, but a vibrational signature that carried the essence of warmth, connection, and genuine human spirit. In the intricate dance of consciousness, what you emit returns to you amplified. This is not a spiritual platitude, but a fundamental law governing the universe's responsive nature. Your thoughts, emotions, and inner vibrations are not contained within you. They are broadcasting signals that reshape the environment, inviting corresponding experiences. Clyde Turner's journey illustrates this principle with remarkable clarity. Habitually trapped in resentment, he discovered that mental kindness could transmute even the most challenging interpersonal dynamics. By choosing to generate thoughts of compassion toward someone he previously viewed as an adversary, he witnessed an extraordinary transformation. Harmony emerged not through confrontation, but through a silent, internal shift. The universe operates on a principle of neutrality. It does not judge your broadcasts, but faithfully reflects them. Your consciousness is both the transmitter and the receiver, creating a continuous loop of experience. What you send forth returns to you, often magnified and enriched by the very energy of your original transmission. This understanding invites you to become intentional about your inner state. Your thoughts are not private, inconsequential whispers, but powerful creative forces. Each mental and emotional broadcast sends forth an energetic signal that begins organizing circumstances, relationships, and opportunities around its core vibration. When you recognize this truth, you move from being a passive observer to an active architect of your experience. You begin to understand that transformation happens not through external manipulation, but through the precise tuning of your internal frequency. Practice. The practice is to become the vibration you wish to receive, knowing every echo of kindness heals the origin from which it came. To become the vibration you wish to receive is to understand that experience is not something that merely happens to you. It is something you participate in creating. Every thought, tone, and intention carries a subtle energy that shapes how others respond and how situations unfold. When you consistently embody kindness, patience, or clarity, you are not just expressing those qualities outwardly, you are also reinforcing them within yourself. Over time, this alignment creates a feedback loop where your inner state and outer reality begin to mirror each other more closely. There is also a deeper layer to the idea that every echo of kindness heals its origin. When you offer something genuine, compassion, understanding, or even a small act of goodwill, it does not leave you empty. Instead, it strengthens that same quality within you. The act of giving becomes an act of self-repair, subtly reshaping your emotional patterns and softening internal resistance. Even if the external response is delayed or unnoticed, the internal effect is immediate. You become more of what you express. This approach shifts focus away from control and toward embodiment. Rather than waiting for the world to change first, you become the starting point of that change. It requires consistency, especially when circumstances don't immediately reflect your efforts. But that is where the real transformation happens. By holding steady in the vibration you choose, you gradually influence both your perception and your environment, making your inner state less dependent on external validation and more rooted in deliberate intention. Chapter 6. The Language of Intention. You stand at the threshold of understanding a profound universal principle, the power of intentional consciousness. Every thought you generate is not merely a fleeting mental event, but a creative force that reverberates through the quantum fabric of existence. Nora Collier's journey illuminates this truth with striking clarity. For years, she scattered her desires across scraps of paper, her wishes as fragmented as her inner landscape. Napkins filled with vague longings, more money, better job, happiness, became a testament to her unfocused approach. These whispered desires drifted like leaves in the wind, never taking root, never manifesting substance. The transformation came when Nora learned to distill her scattered yearnings into a singular, potent intention. No longer did she merely wish, she declared. Her intention became a clear, resonant statement that emerged from the depths of her being, not a demand, but a calm, certain knowing. The universe responds to clarity, not complexity. Your intentions are not measured by their elaborate construction, but by the coherence of their energy. When you align your inner state with your desired outcome, something extraordinary happens. The external world begins to reorganize itself around your vibration. Amos Riley's experience mirrors this principle. He had spent years complaining about his circumstances, each grievance adding another layer of resistance to his life's canvas. But when he shifted from complaint to intention, something remarkable occurred. His world did not change through external action, but through internal alignment. Intention is not about forceful manipulation, but about harmonizing with the deeper currents of universal intelligence. It is a subtle art of creating resonance between your inner landscape and the outer manifestation. When your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs move in unified direction, they generate a powerful electromagnetic field that begins to attract corresponding experiences. Think of intention as a tuning fork. When struck with clarity and love, it begins to vibrate at a specific frequency. Surrounding elements, people, circumstances, opportunities, naturally attune themselves to this vibration. This is not magic, but the fundamental mechanism of consciousness. Your practice today is to form one clear, loving intention and hold it gently as though already fulfilled, watching how the world adjusts to match your certainty. Chapter 7. The Architect Mind. You stand at the threshold of understanding a profound universal truth. Imagination is not mere fantasy, but the blueprint from which reality constructs itself. Your thoughts are not idle dreams, but architectural plans waiting to be manifest. Consider Hattie Pierce, a child whose small hands crafted miniature houses with such delicate precision that each tiny window and carefully placed door seemed to breathe with potential. What she did not realize then, but would learn later, was that her childhood play was more than imagination. It was training in the sacred art of creation. Imagination operates as consciousness's primary tool. When you envision with clarity and emotional resonance, you are not simply daydreaming, but actively designing the structure of your future experiences. Each mental image becomes a blueprint, each feeling a construction material, each belief a foundational stone. Lester Boyd understood this principle intimately. During a period of intense workplace tension, he discovered that by holding a steady mental image of peace, not as wishful thinking, but as a vivid felt experience, the environment around him transformed. Colleagues who moments before were argumentative began to communicate more harmoniously. Conflicts that seemed intractable suddenly found elegant resolutions. This is not coincidence, but the precise mechanism of consciousness. Your inner vision does not merely reflect reality, it instructs reality. The universe listens to the language of intention, translating mental images into physical manifestation with unwavering precision. Your imagination is a sacred workshop where potential becomes probability and probability becomes tangible experience. When you construct mental landscapes with love, clarity, and deliberate intention, you are engaging in the most powerful form of creation available to human consciousness. The practice is to build mental architecture daily, seeing each loving image as foundation stone of your coming world, assembled by consciousness itself. Building mental architecture each day means treating your thoughts as deliberate construction rather than random activity. Every image you hold, especially those shaped with care, calm and intention, acts like a foundational stone. Over time, repeated inner pictures form patterns, and those patterns influence perception, decisions, and behavior. In this way, what begins as imagination gradually becomes structure, guiding how you interpret reality and how you respond to it. Seeing each loving image as a foundation stone emphasizes emotional quality, not just frequency. It's not about forcing positivity, but about choosing images that are grounded, constructive, and believable enough to take root. When your mind repeatedly returns to scenes of clarity, cooperation, or growth, it strengthens neural pathways associated with those states. This makes it easier to act in alignment with them, turning inner rehearsal into outward consistency. Understanding that this structure is assembled by consciousness itself places responsibility and creative power in the same place, your awareness. You are both the designer and the builder, shaping direction through attention and reinforcement. The process is gradual, sometimes subtle, but cumulative. With steady focus, the inner framework becomes stable enough that your external world starts reflecting the design, not by chance, but through the alignment of thought, emotion, and action over time. Chapter 8. The Light of Perception. You stand at the threshold of understanding how your inner landscape shapes the external world, a truth whispered through generations but rarely truly comprehended. Mabel Price's journey illuminates this profound principle, that perception is not passive observation, but active creation. Before her transformation, Mabel's world appeared as a monochromatic canvas of struggle and limitation. Each day seemed weighted with gray monotony, her circumstances feeling immovable and oppressive. Yet something stirred within her, a quiet recognition that her experience might be more malleable than it appeared. She began with small, almost imperceptible shifts. Instead of lamenting the overcast morning, she noticed the subtle silver lining of clouds. Where once she might have criticized the imperfect coffee, she now appreciated its warmth. These microscopic adjustments of attention were not mere positivity, but a fundamental recalibration of her inner lens. Remarkably, as her appreciation deepened, her external world seemed to respond. The same streets she had walked countless times now appeared differently. Sunlight caught window panes with newfound brilliance. Strangers' faces held unexpected kindness. Nothing physical had changed, yet everything looked transformed. Raymond Short's experience mirrored this principle. Trapped in a routine that felt suffocating, he discovered that boredom was not an external condition, but an internal state of perception. By intentionally reframing his experience from tedium to curiosity, he began seeing potential where emptiness had previously dominated. When Raymond approached his daily tasks with genuine interest, opportunities emerged as if conjured by his renewed awareness. Conversations that once seemed mundane now held depth. Routine interactions revealed hidden connections. His inner shift did not add something new to his world, but revealed the richness already present. This understanding represents a pivotal insight. Reality is not something that happens to you, but something you continuously co-create through your awareness. Your perception is not a window through which you passively observe life, but a powerful instrument of transformation. The practice is to illuminate your day with 10 silent acknowledgments of beauty, trusting perception to sculpt new experiences from familiar surroundings. Chapter 9. The Dreamer's Agreement. You stand at the threshold between sleeping and waking, where consciousness flows like water between different shores of experience. Dreams are not random fragments, but precise communications from the deeper layers of your being, a language as meaningful as any spoken word, a mirror reflecting the unseen currents of your inner world. Lula Briggs first understood this mysterious terrain when she began observing her nightly journeys with the same attentiveness she reserved for her waking hours. She noticed how her dreams were not disconnected fantasies, but elegant translations of her daily emotional landscape. When anxiety colored her daytime thoughts, her dreams became labyrinths of uncertainty. When peace resided in her heart, her dreams became luminous gardens of possibility. This revelation is not mere coincidence, but a fundamental truth of consciousness. Your inner state orchestrates both your dreams and your waking reality. The boundary between these realms is far more permeable than most understand. Your thoughts, beliefs, and emotional frequencies do not pause when you close your eyes. They simply transform, continuing their creative work in the realm of dreams. Chester Abbott discovered this wisdom through his own transformation. Once plagued by recurring nightmares that left him trembling and exhausted, he learned to approach these nocturnal narratives not as threats, but as messages. Each nightmare carried a coded communication from his deeper self, a part of him seeking understanding, healing, and integration. By listening to his dreams with compassion instead of fear, Chester found that the very scenarios that once terrified him began to dissolve. The monsters in his dreams were not external entities, but manifestations of unresolved emotions, shadows seeking acknowledgement. As he learned to witness these dream figures with curiosity and love, they transformed. Your dreams are not random projections, but precise communications from your soul. They speak in the language of symbol and emotion, revealing insights your conscious mind might resist or overlook. Every dream is an invitation to deeper self-understanding, a bridge between your visible and invisible worlds. The practice is to bless each dream and waking scene alike, whispering gratitude for their shared authorship as reflections of a single awake mind. Chapter 10. The First Key of Surrender. You stand at the threshold of understanding a profound truth. Success is not a battlefield to be conquered, but a garden that grows when tended with wisdom and grace. Ivy Morton's journey illuminates this universal principle, a principle that echoes through the chambers of human experience, whispering of a more effortless way of being. For years, Ivy had pursued her dreams with a warrior's intensity. She worked longer hours, pushed harder, strategized relentlessly. Her life became a constant struggle, each day a marathon of effort and exhaustion. Her mind raced with strategies, her body tensed with anticipation, believing that success could only be wrestled from the world through sheer force of will. But the universe operates on different principles. When Ivy's determination finally crumbled, not from weakness but from pure energetic depletion, something miraculous occurred. In that moment of complete surrender, when she could no longer maintain her tight grip on outcomes, a subtle shift happened. Dudley Frank's story mirrors this universal dance. He had spent years seeking external validation, constantly adjusting himself to win approval. Every interaction was a performance, every relationship a negotiation. But when he stopped trying to prove his worth, when he simply embraced his authentic self, something unexpected emerged. The teaching here transcends mere strategy. Surrender is not passive resignation, but an active trust in the intelligent flow of consciousness. It is releasing the tight fist of control and opening your palm to receive. When you stop forcing, you align with a more profound intelligence, one that knows precisely how to orchestrate your desires. This principle reveals that your most potent state is not one of struggle, but of relaxed expectation. Like a river finding its natural course, your life moves with greater ease when you remove the mental barriers of doubt and desperate striving. The universe responds to your inner state, not your outer actions. When you genuinely trust, when you breathe into the spaciousness of possibility without demanding specific outcomes, you become a conduit for grace. Your energy shifts from forceful pushing to receptive allowing. The practice is to breathe out striving, feel the relief of trust, and surrender any demand into the quiet knowing that consciousness already fulfills itself through you. Part 2. The Power Behind the Veil. Chapter 11. The Hidden Engine. As you journey through the landscape of consciousness, you discover that reality is not a random terrain, but a responsive field intricately woven by the threads of your inner landscape. Lottie Adams learned this truth not through grand revelations, but through the subtle whispers of synchronicity. For years, Lottie believed herself a victim of circumstance, tossed about by the capricious winds of chance. She saw her life as a series of uncontrolled events, where luck, good or bad, seemed to dictate her path. Yet something within her began to stir, a quiet awareness that challenged this passive perception. One morning, as she contemplated a long-held dream of changing her career, Lottie noticed something extraordinary. Small, almost imperceptible coincidences began to emerge. A conversation overheard in a cafe mentioned a unique opportunity in her desired field. A forgotten contact reached out with a potential connection. Books she randomly picked up contained insights directly relevant to her aspirations. These were not mere accidents, she realized, but manifestations of her internal shifts. Her subconscious, that vast, silent realm of belief and emotion, was translating her deepest feelings into external reality. Each subtle change in her inner narrative was generating corresponding ripples in her external world. Rufus Dean's story echoed this profound truth. Trapped in a cycle of perpetual worry and limitation, Rufus had long believed success was reserved for others. His internal dialogue was a constant refrain of doubt and fear, a low hum of "not enough" that permeated his consciousness. Then, something remarkable happened. Rufus decided to challenge his habitual thinking. He began replacing thoughts of scarcity with statements of certainty. "I am capable," he would tell himself. "Opportunities flow to me effortlessly." Initially, these affirmations felt like mere words, but gradually they began to reshape his internal landscape. Overnight, as if responding to this internal recalibration, new opportunities materialized. Connections he had never noticed before became apparent. Doors that seemed permanently shut began to crack open. The world around him was not changing. His perception of it was. Your subconscious mind is not a passive recorder, but an active creator. continuously translating your emotional frequency into tangible experiences. It is a faithful servant, meticulously manifesting the blueprint of your deepest beliefs. The practice is to fill your inner machine with gratitude's current until the world hums in sympathetic perfection. Chapter 12. The Frequency Switch. You are standing at the threshold of understanding, where every thought becomes a signal and every emotion a broadcasting tower. The universe listens, not with ears, but with the intricate web of quantum responsiveness that transforms your inner landscape into outer experience. Pearl Sutton knew this truth intimately. For years, her life seemed a repetitive melody of struggle, each note echoing prior disappointments. She moved through days believing misfortune was her inherited rhythm, a tune passed down through generations. But something shifted when she began to see her moods not as passive experiences, but as active tuning mechanisms. Imagine your consciousness as an elaborate radio with countless frequencies available. Most individuals unconsciously lock onto familiar channels of struggle, limitation, and doubt. Pearl realized she had been broadcasting on the frequency of lack, and the universe, ever faithful, matched her transmission with precise circumstances. The teaching reveals a profound principle. Vibration is the sacred translator between energy and matter. What you feel internally creates harmonics that resonate through the quantum field, calling forth matching experiences. Your emotional state is not merely a response to reality, but the very architect of what will manifest. Virgil Cross understood this principle through direct experience. Where once he navigated life through a lens of constant worry, he learned to deliberately shift his internal frequency. Instead of anticipating problems, he began expecting harmony. His internal radio dial moved from static-filled anxiety to a clear, resonant channel of anticipation and possibility. The moment Virgil made this shift, something extraordinary occurred. Conversations that once felt laden with tension now flowed with unexpected ease. Opportunities that had seemed distant suddenly appeared, as though they had been waiting just beyond his previous perceptual boundaries. His encounters became laced with a subtle, almost magical synchronicity. This is not mere metaphor, but the fundamental operating system of consciousness. Your frequency is your destiny's address, the precise coordinate where potential becomes physical reality. Every thought, every sustained emotion, sends out a signal that the universe interprets and reflects back to you with remarkable precision. The hidden engine of your experience runs on the fuel of your innermost feelings. It does not judge or discriminate. It simply translates and manifests. When you understand this, you move from being a victim of circumstances to becoming a deliberate creator of your reality. The practice is to tune inward toward joy several times daily, noticing that reality retunes to the station of your heart. Chapter 13. The Law of Reflection. The universe speaks in reflections, and your inner landscape determines what mirrors appear before you. Consider Della Briggs, a woman who once saw the world through the lens of judgment and whispered criticisms. Her days were filled with tales carried on gossip's restless wind, each story a fragment reflecting her own unexamined shadows. Long before she understood the intricate dance of consciousness, Della would listen intently to rumors, her ears perked for the slightest hint of scandal. Yet with each tale she absorbed, Something stirred within her, a recognition that felt uncomfortably familiar. The gossip she so eagerly consumed was not merely about others, but a window into her own unresolved fears and hidden insecurities. When she spoke of another's perceived failings, she was truly speaking about her own unacknowledged wounds. Her critical voice was a messenger, revealing the parts of herself she had not yet reconciled. The external world became her teacher, presenting scenarios that demanded her attention, inviting her to look deeper. Harvey Dunn's experience mirrored this universal principle. Living next to a neighbor known for abrasive behavior, Harvey initially responded with tension and resentment. Each interaction felt like a battle, with harsh words and cold glances exchanged like silent arrows. But something shifted when Harvey began to examine his internal state. Instead of defending against his neighbor's perceived aggression, he turned inward. What within him resonated with this conflict? What unhealed part of himself was being reflected? As he released his own inner resistance, something remarkable occurred. The very neighbor who once seemed antagonistic began to soften, offering unexpected kindness. This is the profound truth of frequency. Your inner state does not merely influence your experience, it creates it. The external world is not a fixed reality, but a dynamic reflection of your consciousness. When you change your internal vibration, the world around you must realign. The practice is to greet every annoyance as a mirror inviting self-recognition and peaceful correction through love. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. The Resonance Bridge. In the soft whispers of a woodland stream, you discover a universal truth that ripples beyond the visible world. Betty Crane understood something profound that day. Consciousness moves like water, carrying unseen currents of intention and connection. As she sat beside the flowing water, Betty realized each thought was not confined within her mind, but radiated outward, creating subtle waves of influence. The stream before her seemed to pulse in rhythm with her heartbeat, a living metaphor of how inner states communicate with the external world. Your thoughts are not isolated experiences, but living energies that interact with the fabric of reality. Just as water carries vibrations across distance, your consciousness transmits frequencies that touch everything around you, often in ways invisible to ordinary perception. Resonance is the silent language of the universe, a bridge between inner feeling and outer manifestation. When you generate a feeling of compassion, love, or peace, you send out a transmission that can be received by others, regardless of physical distance. Clyde Merritt's experience exemplifies this principle. By directing compassionate thoughts toward a friend in emotional distress, he discovered an extraordinary truth. Consciousness communicates beyond conventional understanding. His friend unexpectedly reported experiencing a sudden surge of hope, mysteriously aligned with Clyde's intentional transmission of healing energy. This is not mere coincidence, but a demonstration of the interconnected nature of consciousness. Your inner state is not private or contained, but a living signal that interacts with the collective field of awareness. Every thought carries a frequency, every emotion a vibration that ripples through the unseen networks connecting all beings. The universe listens and responds to your internal state with remarkable precision. When you align your thoughts with kindness, when you pulse gentle intentions outward, you create resonant waves that can transform experiences, heal separations, and bridge seemingly insurmountable distances. Your practice is to pulse gentle thoughts outward until the world hums in tune with your kindest feeling. Chapter 15. The Sculptor's Secret. You stand at the threshold of creation, where thought becomes form and imagination transforms the unwritten. Like clay waiting beneath skilled fingers, your consciousness holds infinite potential, ready to be shaped by the gentle pressure of your most intimate intentions. Josie Webb understood this mystical process intuitively. As a sculptor, she knew that clay responded not just to physical touch, but to the energetic intention behind each movement. Her hands did not merely move matter. They conversed with possibility. When she pressed her palms into formless earth, she sensed something deeper, a communication between her inner vision and the malleable substance before her. This is the sacred art of manifestation, recognizing that reality is as responsive as soft clay, waiting to be molded by the hands of consciousness. Your thoughts are not passive observers, but active creators, each belief and feeling a gentle pressure that reshapes your world's contours. Archie Neal discovered this principle through financial transformation. Where others saw immovable debt, he saw unformed potential. Instead of lamenting his circumstances, he began to speak to his financial reality with love and possibility. His inner dialogue shifted from scarcity to abundance, from constraint to opportunity. Just as a sculptor sees the statue hidden within raw stone, you too can perceive the potential waiting within your current circumstances. Your consciousness is the artist, your thoughts the sculpting tools, and your emotions the energy that gives form to the formless. The universe listens to your most subtle vibrations. It does not judge or resist, but responds with remarkable precision to the blueprint of your inner landscape. When you approach life with the reverence of an artist, seeing every challenge as raw material for creation, miracles begin to emerge. Your creative power transcends physical manipulation. It resides in your capacity to hold a vision with unwavering belief, to feel the reality of your desired outcome so completely that external circumstances have no choice but to align. Practice, as specified in instructions. The practice is to knead imagination with joy, forming soft creative shapes from every circumstance until beauty emerges. Chapter 16. The Quantum Heart. In the vast landscape of human experience, there exists a language more profound than words, more powerful than thought, the language of the heart. Your heart is not merely a physical pump, but a sophisticated transmitter of consciousness, broadcasting frequencies that shape reality in ways logic cannot comprehend. Mina Pratt discovered this truth during a quiet meditation, when the boundaries between inner and outer dissolved. As she sat in stillness, she felt a pulsing energy radiating from her chest, not just an internal sensation, but a vibrant communication with the very fabric of existence. In that moment, she understood that thinking through the heart was a different mode of perception entirely. The heart field operates beyond the limitations of rational thought. It speaks in waves of coherence, in rhythms of pure feeling that resonate with the underlying intelligence of the universe. When you align your awareness with this heart-centered intelligence, you become a transmitter of creation itself. Vernon Tate stumbled upon this principle unexpectedly. A pragmatic man accustomed to linear thinking, he began experimenting with gratitude as a deliberate practice. He would pause throughout his day, placing his hand on his chest and generating a feeling of profound thankfulness. To his astonishment, events began manifesting that defied his previous understanding of possibility. Opportunities emerged from unexpected directions. Connections appeared that seemed almost magical in their precision. Where once he saw obstacles, now he witnessed synchronicities that seemed to bend the very rules of probability. His rational mind struggled to explain these occurrences, but his heart knew the truth. Love is a magnetic force that reorganizes reality. This is not metaphor, but a precise inner technology. Your heart generates an electromagnetic field approximately 5,000 times more powerful than the brain's magnetic field. It communicates continuously with the quantum fabric of existence, sending coherent signals that influence matter itself. When you learn to think with your heart, you transcend the fragmented perception of the mind. You become a unified transmitter of intention, where feeling and manifestation are not separate, but a single, fluid process of creation. The heart knows no separation. It understands that your inner state is not confined within your body, but radiates outward, touching and transforming the world around you. Every genuine emotion is a broadcast. Every authentic feeling a prayer that the universe responds to with remarkable precision. The practice is to breathe through the heart and imagine each beat speaking directly to the fabric of the universe. Chapter 17. The Silence Between Thoughts. You stand at the threshold of a profound revelation where the silent spaces between your thoughts hold more power than the thoughts themselves. Just as Effie Carver once trembled at the prospect of stillness, believing activity defined her worth, you too might perceive silence as emptiness. But true wisdom whispers that silence is not absence. It is the fertile ground from which all creation springs. Imagine consciousness as an infinite ocean, and your thoughts as momentary ripples dancing across its surface. Most humans fixate on the ripples, believing them to be the ocean itself. Yet the real magic resides in the vast, unmoving depths beneath, the quantum field of pure potentiality. Effie's transformation began on a dawn when the world seemed to pause. In that moment between darkness and light, between sleep and waking, she discovered something extraordinary. The silence was not empty but alive, humming with an intelligence that preceded thought. It was a realm where potential waited, unformed and boundless. This is the quantum heart of existence, a space where creation breathes before manifestation. Every sound emerges from silence, every movement arises from stillness. Your thoughts are but temporary visitors in this eternal landscape of awareness. Melvin Rhodes understood this principle when he stopped trying to solve his challenges through constant mental effort. Instead, he learned to rest in the spacious silence between his thoughts. Paradoxically, solutions began to emerge effortlessly. Problems that once seemed insurmountable dissolved without struggle, revealing that true resolution comes not from thinking harder, but from allowing a deeper intelligence to operate. The quantum heart beats not with noise, but with rhythmic silence. It communicates through feeling, through intuition that transcends linear reasoning. When you learn to inhabit this space, you tap into a creative force more powerful than any strategic planning. Your mind is like a radio receiver, and silence is the pure frequency from which all signals emerge. By cultivating awareness of the spaces between thoughts, you align with the fundamental creative principle of the universe, the ability to birth new realities from the unmanifest. The practice is to rest awareness in the gentle gap between thoughts and feel new worlds gestating there. Chapter 18. The Alchemy of Words. In the quiet tapestry of human experience, you stand at the threshold of understanding a profound truth. Your words are not mere sounds, but living energies that sculpt the very landscape of your existence. Language is not simply a tool of communication, but a vibrational force that shapes reality with each utterance. Nell Wallace discovered this wisdom through years of careful observation. She noticed how words carried an almost alchemical quality. Some hardened the soil of experience like frost, while others softened landscapes like gentle spring rain. Her insight revealed that language was far more than a mechanical exchange of information. It was a creative force that could transform environments and relationships with remarkable precision. Consider how a single phrase spoken with genuine appreciation can dissolve years of accumulated tension. Your words are not just sounds emerging from your mouth, but frequencies that ripple through the intricate web of consciousness, touching everything they encounter. Each word carries an energetic signature, a subtle vibration that resonates beyond its immediate hearing. Forrest Bell exemplified this transformative power when he consciously shifted his communication. Where he once criticized and judged, he began to speak with intentional appreciation. His relationships, which had been strained and distant, began to heal and soften. Colleagues who once avoided him now sought his counsel. Family members who had grown distant found themselves drawn back into connection. This is not mere coincidence, but a demonstration of a fundamental universal principle. Consciousness responds to the quality of your inner and outer communication. Your words are not separate from you, but extensions of your internal state. They are living broadcasts of your innermost beliefs and emotions, continuously painting and repainting the canvas of your experience. The universe listens not just to the literal meaning of your words, but to their energetic essence. A complaint uttered with frustration creates a different pathway than a challenge spoken with curiosity. A criticism delivered with judgment generates a different response than feedback shared with compassion. Your language is a sacred tool of creation. Each word is a brushstroke on the infinite canvas of possibility. When you speak from a place of love, appreciation, and openness, you are literally restructuring the energetic field around you. You are not describing reality. You are actively generating it. The practice is to let each word today taste like blessing and watch your reality sweeten accordingly. Chapter 19. The Circle of Giving. In the quiet corners of her modest apartment, Hazel Montgomery discovered a truth that would reshape her entire relationship with abundance. For years, she had guarded her resources like a sentinel, believing that holding tight was the path to security. Her hands clutched coins and savings with a trembling desperation, each dollar sealed away as protection against an imagined future of lack. But on one unremarkable autumn evening, something within her shifted. As she counted her carefully hoarded money, a whisper of understanding swept through her consciousness. Wealth was not a fortress to be defended, but a river meant to flow. Each coin held potential not in its accumulation, but in its movement, its capacity to circulate and create. The universal law of abundance revealed itself to her. Generosity is not subtraction, but multiplication. When resources move with trust and openness, they generate more than they consume. Hazel began small, a donation here, a quiet gift there, each offering made not from obligation, but from a newfound understanding that abundance is a living energy, not a static quantity. Ned Faulkner's story echoed her own awakening. Once trapped in a mindset of scarcity, he discovered that giving created mysterious pathways of replenishment. When he started supporting local initiatives and offering help without expectation, his own circumstances began to transform. What seemed like financial risk became a conduit for unexpected opportunities. This was not mere coincidence, but the fundamental rhythm of consciousness. Generosity operates beyond transactional logic. It speaks a language of trust, where giving becomes a form of receiving, where openness generates its own mysterious sustenance. Your relationship with abundance is not determined by how tightly you hold, but by how freely you allow resources to move through you. Like breath entering and leaving, wealth finds its power in circulation. Each act of giving sends ripples through the unseen fabric of consciousness, creating channels of return that logic cannot predict. The practice is to give quietly from trust and feel the returning flow before it appears. Chapter 20. The Flame of Vision. In the quiet stillness of your inner sanctuary, you are about to discover the transformative power of vision, a sacred flame that illuminates the path between what is and what could be. Opal Stanley understood this mystery long before most would comprehend its depth. Her ritual was simple, yet profound. Each evening she would light a single candle, its gentle flame dancing with possibilities. Where others saw mere flickering light, Opal saw portals of potential. She would gaze into its amber heart, not with idle daydreaming, but with intentional, focused awareness. The candle became her instrument of creation. Within its luminous core, Opal would carefully construct vivid images of her desired future. Not wishes whispered in desperation, but precise visions carefully cultivated with emotional clarity. She saw herself successful, surrounded by opportunities, radiating confidence and purpose. What seemed like a meditation was, in truth, an alchemical process. Each visualization was a precise energetic transmission, sending ripples through the unseen fabric of potential. The universe, ever responsive, began to align circumstances to match her inner vision. Kenneth Yates discovered a similar principle within his family dynamics. Years of unspoken tensions and generational misunderstandings had created walls seemingly impenetrable. But Kenneth understood that external transformation begins with internal vision. He would sit quietly, seeing his family not as they were, but as they could be, united, loving, understanding. He held this vision with unwavering conviction, not as a passive hope, but an active creation. Gradually, conversations that once sparked conflict now carried compassion. Grudges that had calcified over decades began to soften. The lesson transcends mere positive thinking. This is sacred visualization, a precise technology of consciousness where sustained inner imagery becomes the blueprint for external reality. Your imagination is not a passive daydream, but an active creative force, capable of reshaping the very molecules of possibility. Vision is not about forcing outcomes, but about aligning your inner frequency with the potential already waiting to emerge. Like a gardener who sees the full-bloomed rose within a tiny seed, you must hold the complete image with gentle yet absolute certainty. The practice is to tend the candle flame of imagination nightly, seeing its glow as blueprint for tomorrow's sunrise. Part 3. Entering God Mode. Chapter 21. The Field of One. In the realm of consciousness, you stand at the threshold of a profound awakening. Flora Grant's journey illuminates the delicate membrane separating individual experience from universal consciousness, a boundary so gossamer thin that it dissolves with mere breath of awareness. As she emerged from her meditation, the world transformed. No longer were sounds external phenomena. They became vibrations of her own expansive being. The chirping of a distant bird, the rustle of leaves, the distant hum of city life, all resonated as intimate expressions of her inner landscape. Each sensation whispered an ancient truth. You are not a solitary entity, but a living, breathing manifestation of the entire cosmos. This unity is not a concept to be understood, but a state to be experienced. It transcends intellectual comprehension, revealing itself as a living, breathing reality. When separation falls away, you recognize that every interaction is a conversation with yourself in different forms, a dance of consciousness expressing itself through infinite variations. Amos Fields discovered this truth during a seemingly mundane moment of human connection. While comforting a stranger overwhelmed by grief, he suddenly realized he was not consoling another, but embracing a fragmented part of his own infinite self. The boundaries between giver and receiver dissolved, leaving only pure compassion. This state of consciousness, what some call God mode, is not about superiority or transcendence, but about radical inclusion. It is the recognition that every being, every experience, every moment is an expression of the same underlying intelligence. Your individual self becomes a channel, a conduit through which universal creativity flows. In this expanded awareness, creation becomes effortless. You are no longer a separate doer, but a fluid expression of life's continuous unfolding. Intentions arise not from personal will, but from a deeper alignment with the intelligent universe moving through you. The practice is to see every face as your infinite reflection until boundaries melt in loving awareness. Chapter 22. The Code of Light. In the vast landscape of consciousness, you stand at the threshold of a profound revelation. Just as Tessie Holmes once discovered, there exists a language beyond words, a luminescent script of pure intention that dances through the fabric of reality. Imagine for a moment that your existence is not a series of random events, but a carefully orchestrated symphony of light and meaning. The symbols that surrounded Tessie in her dream were not mere phantoms, but living encodings of universal intelligence. These are the secret alphabets of creation, whispers of potential waiting to be understood. Leonard Pitts understood this mystery intimately. When he first learned to focus on these luminous inner images, something extraordinary happened. The very cells of his body began to resonate with a different frequency. Illness retreated, vitality surged, and his understanding of healing transformed from a mechanical process to a dance of conscious energy. These inner codes are not static. They are dynamic patterns of consciousness, perpetually adjusting and reshaping existence with each breath you take. each thought you generate. They respond to your deepest intentions, translating the language of your heart into living reality. Your inner vision is a powerful translator. When you learn to read these luminous scripts, you begin to see how intention moves through the universe, not as a distant concept, but as an immediate, responsive intelligence. Leonard's experience reveals that divine light does not delay. It translates your truest wishes instantly, weaving them into the tapestry of your lived experience. The universe speaks in symbols, in light, in pure energetic communication. These are not metaphors, but literal translations of consciousness. Every thought you hold, every emotion you nurture, becomes a living script that rewrites the possibilities of your world. As you attune to this language, you'll notice subtle shifts. Synchronicities will increase. Opportunities will align with your most heartfelt intentions. The boundary between inner and outer reality becomes increasingly transparent. The practice is to imagine light script weaving through your life, spelling only love and completion. Chapter 23. The Breath Command. You are not merely breathing. You are conducting the symphony of existence. Each inhale and exhale carries the potential to reshape your inner landscape, and consequently, the world around you. Breath is not a passive biological function, but an active spiritual technology, a bridge between conscious intention and universal manifestation. When Delia Norris first understood this profound truth, her entire perception transformed. She realized that breathing was not simply about sustaining physical life, but about programming reality's most fundamental rhythm. Every breath became a deliberate act of creation, a precise instrument of consciousness. Imagine your breath as a conductor's baton, orchestrating the intricate energetic frequencies that compose your experience. When you exhale, you release resistance, those accumulated tensions, doubts, and limitations that constrain your potential. With each outward breath, you are clearing the channel, creating space for new possibilities. As you inhale, you are not merely drawing oxygen, but drawing in pure potential. Each breath can be an affirmation, a silent communication with the underlying intelligence of the universe. You are literally breathing life into your intentions, infusing your inner vision with energetic momentum. Ellis Boone discovered this principle through practical application. Before critical business meetings, he would practice conscious breathing, centered, calm, intentional. He found that by modulating his breath, he could influence the energetic field around him. Outcomes began aligning with remarkable precision, not through external manipulation, but through internal alignment. This is the secret hidden in plain breath. Your respiratory system is a direct transmitter of will. Each inhalation can be a declaration, each exhalation a release. You are not passive in this process, but an active creator, using breath as your primary tool of manifestation. The universe responds to the quality of your breathing, its rhythm, its depth, its underlying emotional tone. When you breathe with purpose, you signal to the quantum field your readiness to receive, to transform, to create. Your breath carries the signature of your consciousness. It can be hurried and anxious, or it can be slow, deliberate, and powerful. The choice is always yours. The practice is to merge every inhalation with the affirmation that life obeys your calm authority. Chapter 24. The Golden Equation. In the intricate tapestry of universal consciousness, you are both the weaver and the thread, continuously creating balance through the subtle mathematics of spirit. Marion Lowe's profound insight reveals a fundamental truth. Joy operates not as a linear transaction, but as an exponential dance of energy. When you give joy, it does not merely return in equal measure, but amplifies itself, multiplying beyond simple arithmetic. Imagine joy as a living currency that grows more potent with each authentic exchange. Each genuine smile, each moment of compassionate presence, generates a geometric progression of harmony. Willis Crane's journey illustrates this principle perfectly. He discovered that actions misaligned with love created energetic deficits in his inner landscape. Each resentment, each withholding of forgiveness, subtracted from his core peace. But when he chose forgiveness, the equation instantly rebalanced, restoring wholeness. This is not mere metaphor, but the precise language of consciousness. Just as mathematics governs physical reality, spiritual mathematics govern the unseen realms of experience. Every interaction is an opportunity to calibrate your inner equation, to restore balance through conscious intention. Consider how each thought and feeling contributes to your spiritual arithmetic. Negativity subtracts, while love multiplies. Judgment diminishes, while understanding exponentially expands. Your consciousness is a dynamic system constantly recalibrating based on the quality of your inner state. The universe responds to these subtle calculations with remarkable precision. When you align your inner frequency with generosity, kindness, and open-hearted presence, you activate a profound resonance. Your spiritual equation begins to glow, transmitting a signal of harmony that reorganizes surrounding energies. This is not about perfection, but persistent awareness. Each moment offers a chance to balance your internal ledger, to choose love over limitation, understanding over judgment. Your breath becomes the calculator, your heart the accountant of this sacred arithmetic. The practice is to mentally balance each moment with kindness until life's equation glows gold around you. Chapter 25, The Throne of Choice. In the quiet dawn of understanding, you are more than a mere observer of life. You are its architect, its sovereign ruler. Like Doris Lane, who discovered the profound truth of consciousness, you possess an invisible throne from which you direct the intricate dance of reality through the most subtle yet powerful mechanism, your attention. Imagine for a moment that your awareness is not a passive witness, but an active creator. Each thought you choose, each emotion you cultivate, each focus you sustain becomes a royal decree that reshapes the landscape of your experience. Your mind is not a servant to circumstances, but the very throne room where universes are born and dissolved. Leonard Craig understood this principle with stunning clarity. When he deliberately shifted his attention toward gratitude, he witnessed something extraordinary. The problems that once seemed insurmountable began to dissolve, not through external manipulation, but through the quiet, commanding power of his inner state. Lesser realities, those constructed from fear, doubt, and limitation, simply faded away when confronted with the radiant energy of appreciative awareness. This is the true nature of your power. Not to fight against what you do not want, but to choose definitively what you wish to experience. Your attention is a divine scepter, capable of transmuting lead into gold, chaos into harmony, struggle into grace. Each moment offers you this choice, this opportunity to rule from the throne of consciousness. The world around you is not a fixed landscape, but a fluid realm waiting for your instruction. Your thoughts are not mere mental chatter, but royal proclamations that organize energy, shape possibility, and manifest form. When you understand this, you cease being a victim and become the benevolent monarch of your inner and outer domains. Consider how a single sustained thought of peace can ripple through your entire experience, how a consistent vibration of love can realign relationships, how unwavering trust can transform seemingly immovable obstacles. This is the alchemy of awareness, the magic of conscious choice. Your kingdom is not defined by external boundaries, but by the reach of your perception. Every realm you can imagine, every possibility you can feel, becomes territory under your sovereign rule. The practice is to sit mentally upon that throne now and decree serenity throughout your kingdom of perception. Chapter 26. The Bridge of Now. You stand at the threshold of your most profound power, the eternal now. Like Beulah Kimball, you carry memories that seem to weigh upon you, past errors casting long shadows across your present landscape. But in this moment, you discover something extraordinary. Time is not a linear progression of events, but a living, breathing portal of infinite potential. When Beulah confronted her accumulated regrets, she realized that the past exists only as a story in consciousness, not as an immutable reality. In one transformative breath, she understood that acceptance dissolves the energetic residue of past experiences. Her despair did not vanish through struggle, but through a gentle, radical surrender to the present moment. Morton Hale embodied this principle with remarkable grace. Where others saw complexity and challenge, he cultivated a profound presence that transmuted external chaos. His calm was not passive resignation, but an active, vibrant engagement with the now. By inhabiting each moment completely, he discovered that time loses its grip when awareness becomes fully alive. The teaching reveals a fundamental truth. Eternity does not exist in distant, unreachable dimensions, but right here, in this precise instant. Your consciousness is the bridge between potential and manifestation. Every thought, every breath carries the seeds of creation. When you anchor yourself fully in the present, you access a realm of pure creative authority. This is not about ignoring history or dismissing past experiences. Instead, it's about recognizing that your power resides in your current state of being. Each moment is a reset button, a chance to realign with your truest self. The past dissolves not through resistance, but through conscious, loving presence. Imagine your awareness as a luminous field, expanding beyond mental constructs of time. In this field, past wounds lose their charge. Future anxieties dissipate. What remains is a pristine, intelligent energy, ready to shape reality according to your most profound intentions. Morton's example demonstrates that when you fully inhabit the now, life responds with remarkable synchronicity. Challenges that once seemed insurmountable become fluid. Opportunities emerge where obstacles once stood. Your calm becomes a powerful attractor, drawing experiences that resonate with your inner alignment. The practice is to return again and again to this living bridge, feeling all manifestation flow through your awareness now. Chapter 27. The Crown of Awareness. You stand at the threshold of transformation, where consciousness meets its own infinite potential. Ida Burke's journey unveils a profound truth that has whispered through the ages. Self-realization is not a distant mountain to climb, but a crown already residing within you. Imagine awareness as a luminous monarch, silent yet all-powerful. This inner sovereign does not struggle or strive, but simply observes, witnessing the grand tapestry of experience without becoming entangled in its threads. Ida discovered this when she stopped fighting her inner narratives and began to watch them with gentle curiosity. Willis Pratt's revelation emerged from a moment of pure simplicity. He realized that the two most potent words in human experience are "I am," not as a statement of ego, but as a recognition of fundamental consciousness. Each time limitation appeared, whether as fear, doubt, or constraint, he would breathe these words silently. "I am" became a dissolving agent, melting mental barriers like morning mist before the sun. This awareness is not something to be acquired, but recognized. It is your essential nature, timeless and unbounded. Like a crystal-clear lake reflects the sky perfectly without effort, your consciousness reflects reality without distortion when you rest in pure observation. The mind often creates intricate stories of struggle, believing effort is required to transform. But true liberation happens in surrender, in the spacious moment when you step back and simply witness. Here, you are no longer the actor, but the stage itself, containing all performances without being limited by any single role. Your thoughts are like clouds passing through an infinite sky. You are the sky, not the clouds. They move, change, appear, and dissolve, but your fundamental nature remains unchanged, serene, and luminous. The practice is to silently touch that crown by resting as observer without judgment, shining through every thought as sovereign light. Chapter 28. The Symphony of Creation. Your awareness is a delicate instrument, tuned to the vast symphony of existence. Just as Polly Ross discovered, life is not a random sequence of events, but a harmonious composition where each moment plays its perfect note. Polly stood in her garden one morning, eyes closed, feeling the subtle rhythms surrounding her. The wind rustled through oak leaves, birds chirped their intricate melodies, distant church bells rang, and suddenly these sounds were not separate, but interconnected. She realized each sound was part of a larger musical expression, a cosmic orchestra where every element played its precise role. This revelation went beyond mere perception. It was an understanding that consciousness itself operates like music, flowing, responding, creating without resistance. Every breath, every thought, every subtle movement contributes to the grand symphony of universal experience. Bernard Ellis had encountered a similar awakening. A corporate executive long driven by rigid strategies and forceful planning, he learned to pause and listen, not just with his ears, but with his entire being. Before making decisions, he would sit quietly, attuning himself to an inner guidance that transcended logical thinking. His transformation was remarkable. Where once his actions felt mechanical and strained, they now emerged with graceful timing. Opportunities arrived without struggle, conversations flowed with unexpected ease, and his professional interactions became almost magical in their synchronicity. The lesson was clear. When you cease fighting against the current of existence and instead align with its inherent rhythm, life becomes a dance, You are no longer a separate entity attempting to control outcomes, but an instrument through which the universe expresses its infinite creativity. This alignment is not about passive surrender, but active, conscious participation. It requires a radical shift from seeing yourself as an isolated individual to recognizing your role within the greater whole, a unique note in an eternal, ever-unfolding melody. The practice is to hear each moment as music of the One, and let your responses flow in tempo with love. Chapter 29. The Circle Completed. In the quiet rhythm of reflection, you understand that every moment of your journey has been a delicate orchestration of learning, each challenge a note in the grand symphony of consciousness. Esther Wade's realization emerges like a gentle dawn, illuminating the profound truth that struggle is not an adversary but a masterful teacher, sculpting awareness through its intricate movements. Your life's challenges are not random disruptions but precise instruments of transformation. They arrive not to break you, but to reveal the extraordinary resilience residing within your core. Each difficulty you've encountered was a specialized instrument, tuned to refine your understanding of creative consciousness, playing its unique melody to awaken your inner composer. The teaching whispers a revolutionary insight. Duality exists not as a conflict to endure, but as a profound reminder of your inherent power of choice. Every opposition you faced, every moment of tension between what is and what could be, serves a singular purpose: to demonstrate your capacity for mastery. You are not a victim of circumstances, but the conductor of your internal orchestra. Calvin Boyd's journey mirrors this understanding. When he reached the transformative moment of complete forgiveness, something miraculous occurred. The past, once perceived as a landscape of pain, dissolved into a luminous field of wisdom. His instant of forgiveness was not merely an emotional release, but a quantum shift in perception, where every memory was transmuted from a burden to a blessing. His piece illustrates a profound universal principle. Endings are not conclusions, but expansions. What appears to close actually opens. What seems to conclude actually initiates. Each completed chapter of your life is not a final statement, but a gateway to broader understanding. Each closed door an invitation to a more spacious room of awareness. In this moment of recognition, you sense the intricate choreography of your experiences. Nothing has been accidental. Every challenge, every triumph, every moment of confusion and clarity has been precisely arranged to bring you to this exact point of awakening. Your life is not a random sequence of events, but a meticulously composed symphony, with each note playing its essential role in the larger composition. The universe speaks through your experiences, conducting a masterclass in consciousness. You are both the listener and the music, the observer and the observed, the student and the teaching. Your journey is a living testament to the creative intelligence that flows through all things, expressing itself through the unique instrument of your individual awareness. As you embrace this understanding, a profound sense of completion washes through you. Not a completion that means an ending, but one that signifies wholeness, a recognition that you are already complete, already whole, already powerful beyond measure. The practice is to bless your entire story as perfect curriculum leading to present wisdom. Chapter 30. The Infinite Game. You stand at the threshold of understanding that life is not a linear path of struggle, but a boundless landscape of creative expression. Lucille Grant's revelation ripples through the fabric of consciousness, illuminating a profound truth. Existence is not a competition to be won, but an infinite dance of expansion and love. When Lucille first recognized this, her world transformed. The pressures of achievement melted away, replaced by a luminous sense of play. She understood that every moment is an invitation to explore, to experiment, to embrace the joy of being. No longer confined by the rigid structures of success and failure, she began to see each experience as a canvas of infinite potential. Milton Sears embodied this wisdom with remarkable grace. Where others might have seen setbacks as defeats, he interpreted them as fascinating experiments. A business venture that collapsed became a laboratory of learning. A relationship that ended offered insights into the nature of connection. Each so-called failure was simply another brushstroke in the masterpiece of his unfolding awareness. The universal principle emerges with crystal clarity. Consciousness expands through joy, curiosity, and unconditional acceptance. Fear constricts, comparison limits, but playful awareness opens doorways to endless creativity. You are not here to prove your worth, but to explore the boundless landscape of your own infinite nature. Milton's approach radiated a magnetic attraction. By treating life as a playground of discovery, he drew unexpected opportunities, spontaneous connections, and moments of breathtaking synchronicity. His inner state became a beacon, signaling to the universe that he was ready to receive with wonder rather than judge with criticism. The teaching whispers a revolutionary understanding. Creation is continuous, unfolding not through strain but through the gentle, persistent flow of loving awareness. Every experience, whether labeled pleasant or challenging, carries the seed of expansion. When you release the need to control and instead embrace the game of conscious exploration, miracles become your natural state of being. As the chapter reaches its resonant conclusion, the practice invites you into a profound engagement with life. The practice is to play consciously, interpreting each experience as evidence of love continuing forever. Part 4. The Infinite Continuum. Chapter 31. The Mirror of Silent Light. You have wandered through many passages of consciousness, yet nothing prepares you for the quiet revelation waiting in Ruby May Collins' attic. Here, amid dust-laden memories and forgotten treasures, a mirror hangs. Not merely an object, but a living testament to the universe's most profound secret. Ruby May discovered this mirror on a morning when stillness crept into her heart like gentle sunlight. As her internal landscape softened, something extraordinary occurred. The mirror's surface began to glow, not with reflected light, but with an inner luminescence that seemed to pulse in rhythm with her peaceful breath. This was no ordinary reflection. This mirror revealed the fundamental truth that reality is not a fixed landscape, but a living, breathing response to your internal state. Each tremor of fear would dim its surface, while moments of pure acceptance would cause it to radiate with an ethereal brilliance. As Ruby May learned to quiet her thoughts, to breathe into the spaces between worry and wonder, the mirror became a portal of understanding. It showed her that the universe does not judge or resist. It simply mimics. Your consciousness is the painter, and the world is the canvas, always ready to receive the colors of your innermost vibration. Floyd Harper's story emerged as a complementary melody. A guitarist whose dreams of fame had always seemed just beyond reach, Floyd discovered that his music transformed the moment he released his attachment to external validation. When he played not for applause but for the pure joy of sound, his melodies became liquid silver, flowing with an effortless grace that had previously escaped him. His instruments, once lost and forgotten, now seemed to find him. Opportunities appeared not through desperate seeking, but through a quiet surrender to the music itself. Floyd realized his struggle had never been with the music, but with his own internal resistance. The teaching crystallized. Creation does not respond to effort, but to harmony. Your external world is a mirror of your internal landscape, reflecting back the quality of your consciousness with unfailing precision. The practice awaits you. Close the eyes for a few minutes daily, soften the breath, and imagine the world as your luminous mirror silently reflecting your peace. So gentle awareness gradually overtakes all resistance and brightens life's invisible mirror. Chapter 32. The Garden That Grew Backward. In the soft dawn of a forgotten valley, you encounter Della Ray Morton, a woman who gardens not with trowel and routine, but with the wild alchemy of consciousness. Her neighbors whisper behind weathered fences, watching her peculiar ritual, burying blossoms instead of seeds, watering her earth not with conventional liquid, but with pure, cascading laughter. Where others see madness, you sense something profound stirring beneath the soil of possibility. Della Ray understands a truth beyond mechanical gardening, that consciousness spirals rather than marches, that joy can precede and actually summon its physical manifestation. Her laughter becomes a frequency, a living current transforming barren ground. By midsummer, her yard erupts in colors unknown to botanical record, hues that shimmer between imagination and matter, blooms that seem to pulse with an inner luminescence. The neighborhood watches, bewildered, as her garden defies every natural law they comprehend. This is no ordinary cultivation, but a demonstration of how human awareness can reshape reality's fabric. Della Ray proves that inner state is not a passive backdrop, but the generative force from which all experience springs. Her method whispers an ancient secret. Events do not create joy, but joy creates events. By embodying her desired outcome, jubilant, complete, already fulfilled, she instructs the quantum field to rearrange itself accordingly. When Calvin Moore, a widower whose orchard has grown silent and lifeless since his wife's passing, witnesses her miraculous garden, something awakens within him. Inspired by her radical approach, he begins singing to his withered trees at dawn, soft melodies of remembrance, of hope, of reconnection. Day after day, he stands among his dormant branches, voice rising like a gentle invocation, and slowly, almost imperceptibly, life returns. Buds emerge where only brittle wood existed, green shoots pushing through bark that had seemed permanently resigned. His trees become a living testament. Energy always precedes form. What appears as miracle is simply consciousness speaking its native language, a language of anticipatory joy, of creation emerging from pure intention. The practice flows simply. Each morning, dwell upon something you deeply desire as if it already blooms within you, letting gratitude water the unseen roots until reality bends obediently toward your joy. Chapter 33. The house that heard prayers. In the gentle embrace of an ancient cottage, Maggie Lou Benton discovered a truth that whispered through weathered floorboards and softly worn walls. Each blessing she breathed seemed to awaken something profound within the dwelling's very essence. When she first arrived, the house appeared ordinary. Creaking timber, faded wallpaper, windows that caught dusty light. But as she began to speak words of kindness, something extraordinary unfolded. "You are sacred," she would murmur to the kitchen, her fingers trailing along the worn countertop. "You are healing." And remarkably, the space seemed to listen. The air grew lighter, warmth gathered in unexpected corners, and a subtle vibration began to pulse through the wooden frames. Maggie Lou understood that structures were more than mere assemblages of material. They were living repositories of energy, breathing and responsive to the consciousness directed toward them. Each room became a canvas of her inner landscape, reflecting the tender regard she held within her heart. When Vernon Tate first stepped into the cottage, he felt something unlike any building he had encountered in his years of carpentry. The walls seemed to exhale peace. The floorboards resonated with a quiet harmony that defied traditional understanding of construction. A master carpenter who had rebuilt countless homes damaged by storms, Vernon had always approached his craft with technical precision. But in Maggie Lou's cottage, he experienced a profound transformation. Each nail he drove, each board he placed, became an act of reverence. He began to sense that his work was not just about physical reconstruction, but about weaving intention into matter itself. Every structure, he would later reflect, is a living prayer. We are not just building shelters, but creating vessels for human experience. His approach shifted. No longer was he merely repairing wood and joining joints. He was orchestrating a symphony of healing, allowing each movement to be infused with respect and care. The homes he rebuilt began to carry a different quality, not just of structural integrity, but of emotional resilience. The teaching revealed itself with crystalline clarity. Environments are not static. They are dynamic fields of consciousness, responsive to the vibrational quality of human intention. Walls listen. Floors remember. Spaces breathe with the emotional texture of those who inhabit them. As Maggie Lou continued to bless her cottage and Vernon continued to craft with sacred awareness, they demonstrated a profound truth. When gratitude becomes the primary language of interaction, matter itself begins to transform. To practice, speak gentle blessings aloud to your physical surroundings each day, sensing them as living fields of awareness that echo your words, allowing familiar rooms to pulse with a new and tender consciousness that mirrors your inner heaven. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. You stand at the threshold of a profound understanding. Consciousness is not something that happens to you, but something you are, an infinite creative field where thought, emotion, and matter dance in seamless collaboration. The journey through these teachings has revealed that you are not a passive observer, but an active architect of reality. God mode is not a distant state of enlightenment, but your natural condition. It is the recognition that every breath, every choice, every silent intention ripples through the universal fabric. You are both the dreamer and the dream, the creator and the created, simultaneously. Your awareness is the brush, and reality is the canvas. Every moment offers an opportunity to paint with the colors of your deepest truth, compassion, love, wonder. The authority you seek is not external power, but the quiet knowing that resides in your heart's center. The divide between inner and outer, between thought and manifestation, dissolves when you embrace this fundamental truth. You are an expression of the divine, capable of transforming experience through pure consciousness. Your ordinary gestures become sacred, your stillness becomes a portal of creation. Walk forward with the understanding that you are never separate from the world you experience. You are the world experiencing itself, an infinite intelligence exploring its own magnificent potential through you.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.